Hello, hello, hello. Are we live? Are we good? Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Is the sound on now? Is it good? Is it good, Renoso? I'm trying to. I'm trying to get it going. All right, we're good now. All right, all right, we're good. We're good. There we go. What's up? What's up? All right, welcome to the Red Devil Experience, everybody. We are back live once again. We're outside, as you can see, different settings. Good to be back. Potential 120 million pound double swoop for Summerville and Mateus Fernandes. We got updates surrounding Marcus Rashford's future, although a lot more questions than answers as it stands right now, because obviously with Rashford, all right, his deal for Barcelona to buy had expired last night at midnight or this morning, and they did not go ahead with that. So his future's up in the air, and we got a couple other transfer stories as well. So it's good to be back. I hope everybody's doing well. I need to figure out how to pull up the chat on this thing because I'm streaming on my phone. And yeah. All right, I got it. So yeah, we're live. We're back. Sorry for the going MIA. It hasn't really been working out. The time difference doesn't really work out well here. So you know. But listen, we're gonna get straight into the news, and then we'll chat a little bit towards the end. Please make sure you're smashing the like button, whether you're watching live now or you're watching after it's aired. Massive help to the channel. We were on a big roll before I had to kind of fly out from where I was to this beautiful place, land behind me. As you can see, we got the nice church in the background, a little bit of a crane, but let's kick things off. Let's get into it. I've been a bit out of the loop, but we did get a big sort of story here. Couple updates, different updates from the Sir David Ornstein. Okay, and the first one is that Manchester United has inquired about Crysencio. I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to call him Summerville. About Summerville, West Ham is asking for around £50 million. He is stating. He also touched on Marcus Rashford, saying Marcus Rashford's £40 million release clause at Manchester United is available to all clubs except Manchester City and Liverpool. So Rashford does have a release clause of £40 million because he is currently still under contract at Manchester United, of course. And he is coming back. As the latest reports stands where it pertains to Rashford. What's up, Hazib? As it stands with Marcus Rashford, Manchester United apparently expect him to be coming back to Manchester United for preseason training. So I guess we're going to have to go through this whole sort of rigmarole with Rashford. Okay, he's going to have to do his World Cup. Hopefully, he has a good World Cup. Hopefully, he stars in it because it'll help with some interest in him. And then, we're sort of going to have to do the whole thing where he's going to have to participate in some sort of way and, preseason wise, whether that's, if he's actually coming on the tour with us or he's just going to be doing his own training at Carrington. But he's going to have, he's coming back to us, and we're going to have to sort that one out. Natasha's here. I see that. Hi, Natasha. How are you? Tasha says, what a lovely view behind. Hope you're okay. I'm good. It's been a little bit of I was supposed to go live last week and I got terribly ill. I don't know what I had, COVID, some type of a virus. And that took me out for like a good 3 or 4 days. And I've been recovering slowly. So by the way, let me know if like the wind is messing up the mic or whatever, because I had reservations about streaming outside, but I mean, how can you not with this background behind me? I mean, when are we going to get an opportunity to do this, So Hasib says 50 million for 5 goals. Nice one. While we can't even get 26 for Rashford after like 30 goals assists. Well, I mean, listen, I get your point. I do. I get your point. But, sometimes I would say, it's a valid point, Hasib. But I would say sometimes, obviously, there's other factors that go into, sort of these deals. I think the biggest one, obviously, is that, first of all, Marcus Rashford is a little bit more up there in age. He's not that old, but he's a little bit more up there in age. His wage is absolutely monumentally through the roof, super, super expensive. And not many clubs really want to pay that or deal with that. And also, the situation is that everybody, and their mother knows that Marcus Rashford is not wanted at Manchester United. And Marcus Rashford also would like, has basically sort of moved on from Manchester United. So I think those circumstances obviously impact, the amount of money we would be able to get for him, which is making the deal a lot more difficult. It's not just as simply as, he's a good player, he gets 30, GA, and we should be getting like 60 million for him. So we're a little bit stuck there. Obviously, okay. I don't know what. I apologize about that. Don't know what happened there. We're back. The phone just completely just cut out. It just shut off the whole thing. All right, we're back. What are you guys saying? I hear that Mateus Fernandes has hit a snag. It has hit maybe a bit of a snag. We're going to get into that. All right, we will get into that. Summerville is 24 from a club who just got relegated. I mean, listen, you're right. You're right. I understand. That is true. But, he is a very good player. He's rated highly. Okay, the GA isn't there. So I get what you're saying. But loads of people rate him. I rate him. I think he's a good player. He's got speed. He's got talent. He needs to, is he the ultimate finished article? No, I think 24 is a good age, maybe to take a step up from a club like West Ham, who they did get relegated. But, I would say, obviously, like him and Mateus Fernandes are probably, their two best players. There's a squad of more than, about 22. So, it takes sort of a village to get relegated. And not just those two players, but I mean, listen, 50 million. West Ham are being a little bit. Listen, they need to raise about 120 million, right? So it kind of fits the story. 120 million, two players. We bang it out for them. They get their money, and we carry on. I think on these two guys, though, I have seen the Mateus Fernandes thing has developed into sort of a bit of a debacle, in that, they want 80 million for him, which, listen, I like the guy and I think he's a good talent, but I believe 80 million is very, very expensive for him. Because you're talking about, again, you look at somebody like Elliot Anderson, you look at somebody like Sandro Tonali, 80 million, they're only a little bit more expensive. And I think, like, Tonali is obviously a much more developed, much more well-rounded, much more further along player. It's a little bit less risky because you know what you're kind of getting when you compare it to Mateus Fernandes. He's a bit still unproven. He's got potential, you know what I mean? But he's got talent, but it's a young age, and I think it has a bigger percentage of chance to flop. I don't really like that they're going for the 80 million here. I think we need to try and get it down. Unfortunately, there's a couple of teams that are interested that is probably driving up the price, right? So, also, how exactly are we closing the gap with the rivals with players from relegated sides? Well, listen, I don't think that that's that bad of a thing. I think there are players to be bought from clubs. I know, maybe not necessarily, it's not the best look when you put it that way, Hasib, I'll give you that, okay? But I would say on the other side of that, I do think that they are good players, and we can poach players from other clubs and put them into our team. It's about who we piece together, though. I don't think we necessarily need superstars. I know some of you have the mentality of, we need to be signing basically just absolutely world-class players, or we're not going to be able to sort of, keep up, as like Hasib is saying. Which, listen, fair point, but I think there's also a potential another route. I think it's a bit more difficult route in some cases, but also I think financially maybe because of what, where we've been in the past, I think maybe financially it might not be the best situation for us. I don't know. I have a little bit of PTSD from what we've just went through over the past like 13 years, spending absolutely ridiculous amounts of money on players, um, leaving us ourselves or the squad a little bit short with doing that with these mega signings, and then these mega signings not, really accomplishing anything for us. I do look at some other teams. Obviously, we are far behind. I think it's a process. I think we need to go through the process. I think if you do the process correctly, I think we can make massive ground in the next 2 to 3 seasons. I look at sort of Cunha, I look at Embuemo, right? Even Delit, even Mazawari. I think these are all good signings. I think players like that, we didn't break the bank for them. Um, I like Cunha, I like Embuemo. I don't know how many people would say they're world class. Maybe they would say it now because they play for us, but beforehand, I mean, Cunha was at Wolves. I liked Cunha. I thought he was a good player. I don't think I would have called him world class, but he's come into United, and he had a decently good first season. We look for him to step it up, but he added value in a couple of different ways. Okay, maybe we needed some more goals from him and some more assists, but that's yet to come. But the front three, did improve us, and they're not all world class players. So I think there's a way you can build the squad. You can have a team that's not necessarily filled with these sort of world class players. We can close the gap. We need to make the core of the team stronger. We need to have a nice, strong depth. I think for next season, that's probably our goal. Our goal is to sort of maintain to a certain degree. And when I mean maintain, we obviously have to improve. And like Hasib is saying, we got to sort of keep up. Um, so I think there's a way that we could build the team um, without necessarily maybe getting these sort of superstars that many of our fans would like to have. I think there's a time and place for everything. I think obviously at some point, yes, we should end up being in a position where we do sign these sort of superstar players. One or two, I think you always need them. You always need some sort of, mega signing or big star catalyst player, but I sort of see those as the cherry on top. And I don't think we're really there yet. I think there's more to be built out into the team. I think there's more that we got to do. So, I think Ineos probably just has to sort of replicate, or at least try and go a little bit above what they've done last summer. Because I think the signings were good. I think we were one player short. We should have gotten a midfielder. But I think if we could sort of get the targets in this season that we need, quality players for a good amount of money, and that allows us to have the depth in the team, because I think depth is really important for us. Depth is really important. Depth for next season is super, super important. Like a strong, quality bench, that we can sort of dig into when we're playing these Champions League matches, when we're playing Premier League, and we're playing all the rest of the competitions. And periods in the season where we got some players injured, maybe some players aren't playing as good. I think the depth is really what's going to make a break for us. So I don't know how it's necessarily going to go with this, but I think they do need to sort it out. And we do have a limited amount of money at some point. We can't spend 500 million. I think we could probably go close to 3, but 3 goes very quickly when we start looking at the numbers. Hasib says, I would keep Rashford rather than go for Summerville or get a younger winger like the Mateus Fernandes guy from Lille, as we got Cunha. Well, see, for me, I mean, listen, if you want to keep Rashford, it's your opinion. There's a bunch of people. I mean, I got friends here in real life. They would like to keep Rashford. For me, Rashford is, he's done. In my heart, I don't think he should stay. I think we've moved on, and I think he's moved on. I think, unfortunately, with the contract thing and his wages being 300,000, I think it's caused a bit of an issue. I think if he wasn't on this amount of wage, we wouldn't be having this discussion, because Marcus Rashford would have been permanently gone by now. I still believe that Ineos don't want Marcus Rashford at the football club. So I don't see how that works. And I also believe that Marcus Rashford doesn't listen. I think he loves the club, but I think he doesn't like the hierarchy. So I don't really see how that would actually come to fruition. And for me personally, like I've already moved on from him. I don't think it's a good idea to bring him back. Um, I've been saying for a long time before he even left that he needed a new chapter. We needed a new chapter. And I still think we need a new chapter. I'm not one to sort of go back. So, Parth says, "What's up, brother? Rashford's back, huh?" For now, he is. For now, he is. I mean, we got to see what happens. I still think he'll be sold somehow. I mean, there's murmurs that Bayern Munich might go in for him. But I think obviously because he's at the World Cup, we have to wait and see, right? We have to wait and see. He's got to finish the World Cup first, and then we got to see what happens from there because there's probably nothing is really going to happen while he's over in the US playing the World Cup. Choking. What else are you guys saying? So many options. Arsenal and Liverpool are getting better wingers than us. Barcola, Diomande, Ndiaye, Leao, Rogers. Well, let's see. I mean, did they get any of those guys yet? Did they? I don't think they did, but we got to see what happens. Robert says, bottom Spurs have signed player, and third place Man United are busy talking to players. Well, I mean, we did sign one guy at least, I think, right, Ederson, but been held off because he got called up to the Brazil squad. So, have you had nice weather? Yeah, it's really hot over here. Am I watching tonight's games? Yes. Well, I'm watching one game because the games are messed up here. So I'm going to watch the France-Senegal game. It's at 9 p.m. over here. The other games are at midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m. Yeah, so I'll probably be asleep for a couple of those. I don't know why I'm choking. Lucky is here. What's up, Lucky? Hasib says, this is another mediocre summer after getting UCL. We do this every time. Cunha had been on that level for years. Just playing in Prem doesn't make you Prem proven. Summerville's still living off his Leeds days. No, I think Summerville's a good player. I would say Hasib. I mean, listen, there's still a lot left in the summer window, so I'm not going to call it a mediocre summer before it's closed. I'll give them till the end to see what happens. Because they could do a couple things that when you get to the end of it, maybe it's just it's well rounded. So we started off with Edison. Now the World Cup has started, and it's a lot of sort of there's not too much going on. A lot of United are talking. United are looking at this play. United are looking at that play, which is sort of expected. At some point, I expect, obviously, Mateus Fernandes is one. He's not at the World Cup, right? There's a couple other players that aren't at the World Cup. So these deals, we should be able to do it. But obviously, the World Cup is sort of taken a little bit of the edge of the transfers right now. Marcus Rashford going to Bayern Munich. Has already said he wants to leave. 30 million, says Lucky. We'll see. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening. Hasib says Antonio Nusa as well. We need to stop forcing Prem gimmick and look at European market as well. Well, I agree, but at the same time, I will say I do like the. I do believe in sort of the Prem thing. I do believe in the Prem thing. I believe in the Prem thing. I don't think you have to go total Prem, but I think the mixture of the Prem players, sort of like what we did last summer. If you look at the attack, we got 2 Premier League players All right. They were able to handle the competition in the Prem. They played on Premier League teams. They did it week in, week out. And then you had Sesko, who was a player from the German league, Bundesliga, no Premier League experience. And I think that worked well. And I do believe in sort of at our current state for what we are and where we've been and what we've sort of been doing over the, let's just say, the last 4 or 5 seasons. Okay. I do believe that we do have to get Premier League players, um, at least a few, for the time being, until we sort of have this squad nailed down in a way where we look at that team and we say, we have a strong team. We have a strong core of players. We're missing maybe like, one special player here or two special players here, you know. But I do think that we need the Premier League proven players, so to speak. I like to say Premier League experienced, because Premier League proven makes it seem like, it's guaranteed that when you buy them, they're automatically going to work for you. I like to say Premier League experience. Premier League experience sounds a lot better because they're experienced in the opposition that we can play. Premier League proven makes it sound like you buy them, it's guaranteed that it's going to work. We've seen players go from one Premier League team to another and not do so well. So that, I don't really like that term. But I do look at the other teams in the past, right? I think City did it. Liverpool did it. They still kind of do it now. Arsenal's done it at one point. Okay, they bought players from City. Sure, they were leftovers. I think Chelsea's done it. I do believe that it does help in the building of the squad. So, my aspirations for us is I'm looking at it sort of. We're in another 2-3 year project, so to speak. I don't think we're gonna really be able to accomplish what we ultimately want to accomplish for another 3 seasons, or 2 seasons from now. And that has to go off the back of, we have to have a good season next season. We need to be able to compete in the Champions League. We need to stay in the top 4, albeit it'll probably be a top 5 again because England is running things European wise. I don't see how, the Premier League gets knocked off of the coefficient. Lyle's here and has become a member for 5 months now to the RDE VIP section. Thank you very much, Lyle. How you doing, buddy? On chat skipping on me. I've been watching the World Cup games. Brilliant. Have you guys been enjoying it? You got a terrible cough. You need hot honey and lemon drink and plenty of rest. Well, I've been trying to recover. So yeah, I still got it like a little bit lingering on. So, but we carry on. We carry on. Spurs getting Tonali. They done Van Heck and Sensi, and Savigny almost done as well. Well, I mean, to be fair, yep. I mean, listen, I have seen that. I'm a bit disappointed that United seem to be, backing away from Tonali. And we obviously, I didn't really like the whole Elliot Anderson thing either, the backing out of it. I said, listen, I have no problem if you go for these players and we fail to convince them to come to our football club and they choose to go somewhere else, so be it. I understand maybe a bit of the part they don't want to get involved in a bidding war, but I would flip that around on them and say, you don't have to necessarily get involved in a bidding war. You can still put in a bid for a player, okay, and show interest in that player. And, okay, the fee may be lower than maybe the other club, but if the player knows that Manchester United is seriously wants them and makes the first move for them, maybe the player would then flip it around on their club, whether it be Nottingham Forest or it's Newcastle, and say, well, listen, I don't really want to go to these other clubs. I want to go to Manchester United. But what we've done, which I said I wouldn't respect if we do it, is we've sort of cowered away. And we've sort of used the, oh, we don't want to be in a bidding war as an excuse type of thing. And I don't really believe in that. Like, I agree, we don't need to be wasting time in bidding wars. Bidding wars become very expensive. It wouldn't be beneficial to us. But personally, me, if I was in charge, I would have thrown a bid out there for Elliot Anderson. If they reject it, they reject it. If it's not high enough and City put in a higher one, City put in, but at least we gave it a shot, an actual shot. Not we have been saying for 9 months he's our top target, and then we're just sitting there sort of, in the corner looking at Manchester City and we're like, yeah, so what are you guys going to do? And, just kind of waiting for them to do something and see what happens. In that situation, we're not being proactive, we're being reactive. If it was up to me, I would have just went out there and threw out a bid. And been like, this is what I'm bidding. If they reject it, so be it. Maybe I get Elliot Anderson to feel some type of way. Maybe he, can sort of start pushing from his side and be like, well, listen, I want to go to United. I don't really want to go to these other clubs, so I'm not going to accept an offer from these other football clubs. And even Sandro Tonali. But we haven't really done that, have we? We just sort of, looking at these players, we're interested, we're highly interested, and then just one day it comes out and it's like, well, we're not really interested in getting into a bidding war, so we're just going to look elsewhere. And that's been highly disappointing in that aspect, So, and Sensi, like you said, Sensi, we could have got him on a free, but we didn't go for him, so. Prem proven, get the best players at mid-table clubs, not signing relegation level players. Go sign Krupi and Hall, not Summerville. Well, we are apparently looking at Hall as well, but that one's not going to be easy either. And Sebastian's here, says evening all. What's up? What's up, guys? Please make sure you guys are hitting the like button, okay? Thank you. Temeskin says, please, Wilcox, what about thinking for midfielders? Please, I need Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, Curtis Jones, Jan Diomande, Daniel, Svensson, Van de Ven to United is better for next season. Please, Ineos, make plan 4. Sebastian says, where are you at, bro? I am in Malta, bro. I am in Malta. I had to come here. I had a funeral, so I had to come here. I will be returning to the U.S. in about 5-6 days from now. So I'm going back. So I won't be here for much longer for the time being. And Lyle also has sent 5 Red Devils experience gifted memberships. So shout out to Lyle, man. Thank you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry about South Africa. All right. Sorry about South Africa in the opening game. But I hope you're doing well. Patrick Dorgu, who we don't even know is a left back or left wing or right wing, got better output than this Summerville guy. I guess maybe, but no, listen, I think Summerville has potential though. We could still mold him into a good player. He's not a guy that, there are some other wingers out there that maybe they're, I would say maybe a little bit more ready to go. But I don't think Summerville is a terrible player. I would be all right with Summerville. Depends on the price. They're saying £50 million. Listen, I don't know. These prices, they got to come down. West Ham they're going a little bit crazy. All right. We were looking at Mateus Fernandes. We're saying 50, 60 million. And then, I didn't pay attention for a week. And then next thing I know, they're talking about 80 million. And they're talking about Real Madrid's looking at him and PSG want him. And I'm like, well, what the hell's happened here, And the 80 million price tag still sticking around. And I don't know. For me, listen, I like the kid, but I just feel like that's gotten a whole lot more expensive than it probably should be. And then when you weigh it, I don't think 80 million is a good price for him. I don't. I like the kid, but I don't think he's worth 80 million. I think that's a bad buy. So I don't want us to walk away from it, but I don't know how we sort this deal, because now this the price has just jumped to basically out of nowhere. So don't matter that if we get two players of the quality of Mateus and Scott just for Anderson. We also need depth, not just quality, says Sebastian. Well, that's sort of what I'm saying. See, like, I mean, like, if we got Mateus Fernandes and Scott, I'm okay with that. Like, it's not Elliot Anderson, it's not Tonali, but I think that's still decent. I think it's still good enough. It's different. I still think that that's a path that we could do, that could work. And like Sebastian is saying, and like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, like, we need depth, and not just quality. And actually, we always need a good mixture, right? We always need a good mixture. But I think at this moment in time, for us specifically, I think the depth is just a little bit more important than the quality. Just a little bit, not a lot. I'm not saying, like, get a bunch of bums, okay? But I think how I view our squad, where we are, and when I keep thinking about next season, and when I look sort of in the past couple of seasons, we always end up in a situation where we are in some point in the season. It's an important run of fixtures. Okay, we're in probably a decent position, or we have some sort of a decent opportunity, or we're in some sort of a cup, and we run into this sort of problem where you know there's one or two players that aren't playing good, that they don't look good, and there's no confidence in them, there's no faith in them, um, and then we probably have like a couple injuries, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, we're about to play this really important game. We got the starting 11. I look at the bench. I'm like, we got about one and a half subs, and I was like, if today goes wrong with the starting 11, we're probably fucked. We're fucked, because I mean, what changes are we going to be able to make? Where are we going to get the answers off the bench? And there's been loads of times where that has happened, and we don't get the answers from the bench, and we can't really afford that, especially next season, because of the Champions League, the quality that we're going to be playing in there. So we really do need to sort out the depth issue. I think that will go a long way for us for this season, and would it allow us to continue to improve over the next season, the season after that, because what can't happen, we can't go backwards from here, because if we go backwards, we're going to be in big trouble, financially and squad wise. So to be honest, hold on, things are skipping. um to be honest, Anderson has already chosen City to replace Rodrigo, or Rodri. Oh, and they will pay the big money for him. No, I mean, listen, it is what it is. What I'm saying is, though, like, I just, it's one with Elliot Anderson, then you do with Tonali, sort of, kind of. I mean, he's kind of there, but we're not really being mentioned from the other side of sources. Um, there was a big update. I think Fabrizio Romano put it out yesterday. He mentioned a couple clubs. Manchester United is not mentioned in that update. So, you know, I understand the club's point of view. We don't want to get involved in bidding wars, because bidding wars are a bit, number one, we can't really compete in bidding wars with some of these clubs. We just can't. We'll get outpriced. So in that case, it's a bit a waste of time. But I would still sort of, in my opinion, I would probably still throw out a bid of some sort, and see, if I could get the player, if I could sway the player over to us, be like, well, they, because sometimes the way you move, sometimes it impresses the player. Like, he's got a couple options, okay? But if you move first, sometimes they're like, well, they move first. They really want me. So, they're the ones that are most serious. These other guys, they like me, but they were also looking at four other options. And sometimes that does sway them a little bit. I would have just put out a bid at the very least. If it was me, in my opinion, I would I would say, listen, we like you, we want you. I put out a bid, they reject it. Other clubs that start outbidding us, the price starts, going up by 20 million, 40 million. Then you just say, listen, we got to be out. We got to go different places, but at least we gave it a shot. But we're not even doing that. We know we can't compete. We can't bid enough to get him. Yeah. Well, I think he's gone, but I'm saying like somebody like Tonali, right? Like I don't think his future has been like somebody like Tonali hasn't been decided yet. And we've sort of just we've done a similar thing in the terms of that, like we're like, oh, we're not getting into a bidding war, so we're just gonna run away. Brown Knight says, I'll be honest, if Mateus Fernandes chose Manchester United over PSG and Real Madrid, he's not very smart, is he? Well, I mean, you could say that, I guess. You could say that. I think, listen, I like to say players live in a little bit of their own bubble, okay? We're not, they're not like us, managers, coaches, players. They live in a bit of a bubble. They're not like us. There's plenty of times where people say, why the hell would this player go to that club? You gotta be an idiot. But listen, I think sometimes like Mateus Fernandes, maybe his dream club is to go to Manchester United. So he would say, I don't want to go to PSG. I don't want to go to Real Madrid. I want to go to Manchester United. Um, does that make him dumb? I don't know. Maybe depends. Depends. I mean, if you're looking at it in the sort of sense of like, well, he obviously stands to win a whole lot more at those other clubs, then yeah. But sometimes players, the be all and end all isn't just 110%. Trophies. We could probably say the same thing about Bruno Fernandes, to be quite honest. I mean, he came to us. He's still here. He probably had a couple different opportunities to leave, and he could have probably went to, maybe he could have went to Madrid or Barcelona or something. Is Bruno stupid for staying? I mean, it depends how you look at it. I can understand Bruno's his club is Manchester United. There's no club bigger than Manchester United. So I can understand why they want to come, or they stay, for that example. So it depends how you look at it, to be honest. Unfortunately, they just inflate the prices like that. Yeah. Matata says Fernandes and Diouf for 120 million. Simply put, this summer is about raising the floor, not raising the ceiling. Lucky, what are you saying? Lucky is saying deal done for Mateus Fernandes. From where? My reporting: West Ham tried to get Real Madrid getting Enzo Fernandez. PSG get who? Yeah, that's not. No, we were never interested. Says Reynoso. Yeah, we were never interested. I like that. No, I dislike when the football club does that. Okay, I don't like that shit. Listen, let's have, and I apologize to the woman in here, okay, but let's have some balls, all right. Let's have a little bit of balls, all right. There's no shame in going for something and not getting it, but there is, in my opinion, 100% shame in pretending like you're going to do something and then running away, which is basically kind of what we've done with a couple of these deals. So far, like Elliot Anderson. And now it seems like Tonali as well. You know, I for me, again, even if they rejected it, even if we couldn't compete, I still would have thrown a bid out there. Now, maybe that's not smart. I'll play devil's advocate. Maybe that's not smart because if you do that for one of the players, okay, you're sort of showing your hand on what you're willing to pay or how much money you actually have for that player in that position, and you ain't going to get that player. So when you go for the other player, that club knows how much money you're willing to throw, and they will use that against you. So maybe that's not the smartest thing, but from a moral standpoint, I guess, from a moral standpoint, from a belief standpoint, um, there's no way I'm letting the football club put out stories for like 9 months straight, and then even for Tonali, the past few months straight, making it seem like we're very, very serious, like we were going to try and do something, and then we didn't even actually make a legit move. You know what I mean? Rajat is here. Says, hi, you are vacationing. Well, sort of. Sort of. I'm sort of vacationing. Tonali has been linked to Spurs, yes. I don't think, Reynoso says, I don't think it's dumb when you're idle, just set the assist record and is batting for you to come and play with him. It is a career risk, but some players are looking to do something special. And I agree with Reynoso. I mean, that's another valid point from a different, viewpoint, different opinion from a different viewpoint. It's another way to look at it. And I agree with that as well. Like, listen, I know it's two different sports, but look, just to say, the New York Knicks just won their first NBA championship for 53 years. We had a player there that we got 2-3 years ago by the name of Jalen Brunson. And, NBA works a little bit differently. It's not like football. Okay, they get traded and they don't really have a say in the trade. All right, they can't reject it. So they get traded to wherever they get traded. But what I will say is that 2 years ago, he passed up on his contract. He passed up $134 million. So the team had more money to acquire more players so that they could compete. And, listen, 2 years ago at that time, a lot of people were saying that he is an idiot, that he is a moron, because the Knicks hadn't won a championship for 51 years. And he passed up $134 million. And they were like, he might as well have lit it on fire, because even if he passed up the money, they were like, the Knicks aren't going to win. But he believed, and he has a connection with the team. I'm not going to go too far off on basketball, but he had a connection with this team. His father played for them. All right. His father was on the coaching staff, and he did it for the betterment of the team. 2 years later, it paid off for him. So, is he an idiot? Maybe he was an idiot, but he's certainly not now, because, it worked out for him. And he was looking to do, like Reynoso said, he was looking to do something special. He wanted to get the Knicks a championship. They haven't done it for 53 years. He believed he could be one of the guys to do it, and he actually did it. So maybe, in football sense, like Reynoso was saying, Mateus Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes is his idol. Manchester United is his idol club. We've been down in the dirt for a while. He wants to come and try and do something special. Sometimes it's a little bit more than just, let me just join this team because I'll win 3 Champions Leagues and I'll win the 3 La Ligas, and, I'm guaranteed GOAT or something like that, So, Barcelona. It is Barcelona there, maybe. What, here? This is Malta. Japan and Holland, very good game. Great game, to be honest. 2-2, yeah. Eric, did you happen to get a chance to see if your father's club or has a scarf, or if there's a national team scarf? I have not. Thank you for reminding me, though, because I totally forgot, my friend. And I will find out. I will find out today, tomorrow. All right. I know the president, so I gotta. When I see him, I'll ask him. I'm sure they have it somewhere. So, but I'm glad you remembered, because I didn't remember. Remember, I told you to remember. I remember. I told you to remember me. Remind me. All right, hold on. Let's try and do a couple updates. Okay, I'm working with like half a thing here. Okay, so real quick, if Marcus Rashford, this from David Ornstein, a couple updates. We're just gonna do random stuff, and we'll just have some sort of big discussion about it. I can't see the chat right now, so just keep putting in the comments. I'll get back. But if Marcus Rashford goes back to Old Trafford, it is believed his preference would be to honor the remaining 24 months on his deal there rather than join an English team. That's interesting. I did not know that. I just read this update. So, I mean, I did say that I don't believe that he likes the hierarchy and the hierarchy don't like him. This comes from David Ornstein in The Athletic. I mean, I find that very interesting. Maybe he stays. Maybe he stays. I mean, listen, I don't know. I guess really it, there's a couple factors. Number one, I think obviously it probably depends on Carrick, but I think any of us would say Carrick probably would take him back and would want him, and probably is because they have some sort of relationship for sure, right? So Carrick's, um, it's not like he hates Marcus or anything. I'm sure like he would definitely take him back if he could, but I think obviously where it comes as a standpoint is, if Marcus is actually willing to come back to the club, and then also it comes from Ineos' standpoint, and the fact of, well, maybe they didn't necessarily not like him too much, as maybe I kind of felt like they didn't. Maybe it was more just sort of proper business in that Ruben didn't want him. They were backing the manager. They did what they felt like was appropriate. And it's sort of just like, this is business type of thing. And if they sit down with him or they talk to him and they sort of say that, and they were like, listen, we didn't have any sort of animosity or hate towards you. We were just doing what we felt like was appropriate for the club. The manager at the time didn't want you in the team, wasn't going to use you. So we had to move you on. And, if they hash that out some way, somehow, um, maybe he does stay for 24 months on his deal, and you know is back at Manchester United. Although the caveat there is that it says that he would prefer to honor the remaining 24 months on his deal rather than join an English team. Now that could be pertaining to the release clause, because he does have a 40 million pound release clause, and barring City and Liverpool, I believe. So I mean, maybe he's sort of just saying like, yeah, I'd rather not go and play for another English team. I think that still leaves Bayern Munich out there. What else do we have? David Ornstein also said Manchester United is currently focusing its efforts on Mateus Fernandes. Negotiations with George Mendes are progressing. I will say this: I don't know what we did to George Mendes, but listen, I don't know, maybe it was Sir Alex, but George Mendes, he used to get us great deals. George Mendes. George Mendes used to do amazing deals for us. Now George Mendes seems to be fucking us over a lot, and making life very difficult for us. So I don't know if it was like Sir Alex and he had a good relationship with Sir Alex, um, somehow. But as of late, the last couple players that he had, I don't think they've gone too well. And then this one has sort of turned into a pain in the ass. So I think before he used to be able, before he was sort of doing us favors, and we were getting deals done. But because years ago, I mean, George Mendes was involved, and that player was coming to United guaranteed, and the deal would get done very quickly. But I don't know. We'll see. David Ornstein also said another switch to Barcelona for Marcus Rashford is not completely discounted, nor the idea of fellow European sides pursuing the 28-year-old England attacker, although United intend only to entertain permanent solutions. as they should. Again, a loan is not really going to help unless it's a loan with an option, with a guaranteed option to buy. Because if we loan him out, we're just going to lose another year, and he'll have 1 year left on his contract, and then we're totally screwed. Because if nobody's going to buy him with 2 years left, nobody's going to buy him with 1 year left. That's for sure. They're just going to let the contract expire and let him go for free. So I mean, now is sort of make or break, I think, with Marcus Rashford, because it's either we sell him or we're pretty much screwed. In the case of we're not going to get any money. If we don't get money for him this summer, we're not getting any money for him. So he's gonna be another player just ultimately at some point walks out of the door for free, and then he'll be able to go wherever he wants as well. Nothing holding him down. They did say Sander Berg is another player that Manchester United are now running the rule over as an option for the midfield. Fulham would want to make a profit on the £25 million they paid 2 years ago for him. Well, I mean, I kind of feel like that's like I kind of feel like that's a plan C or D option, isn't it? David Ornstein also reporting United are open to listening to offers for Ugarte and Xerxes. I mean, we've talked about that for quite a long time now, right? And those are sort of the two players I expect if people are going to leave and be sold, other than Marcus Rashford and like Onana and stuff. But the two players that were like basically in our squad last season, Ugarte and Xerxes. And I lean a lot more heavily towards definitely Ugarte. And I would probably move Xerxes on as well. But, I mean, not a lot of detail in these updates, very, very small updates. We don't care about Jadon Sancho. We did have an update here on Lewis Hall, which Manchester United's interest in left back Lewis Hall remains. Although Newcastle United are not looking to sell, United may still seek to strengthen the left-hand side of their attack rather than at left back, with Patrick Dorgu able to cover either position. Yeah, the thing about Lewis Hall is, I mean, listen, he's probably one of the best left backs out there right now. The thing is, Newcastle United are not looking to sell. I've heard from the Newcastle fans, they're getting very pissed off because they're saying that the reporting is that there's no like rift between him and Eddie Howe. Lewis Hall is not really actually pushing to leave Newcastle United in the way that it's being sort of reported. So the Newcastle fans are getting sort of very pissed about this because they're basically saying like the media is trying to create something that isn't actually there. Okay. And it's a little bit more straightforward. Like, they're not saying he wouldn't leave the football club. They're just saying that, there's no rift, there's no fight, there's no like you're going to get him at a bargain. If you want him, they're basically saying pay the money and we'll sell him to you, but pay what he's cost. But apparently the media are trying to create this narrative that like Lewis Hall has had a falling out with Eddie Howe, or he's unhappy at the football club and he's pushing to move. And they're saying that's not true. So I've seen a few of them say it. So I'll sort of take their word on it. But we obviously are interested in him, and there's more people interested in him. So he's still going to cost a pretty penny. I mean, there's a bunch of these players that they are going to cost us some money. So somehow, some way, I mean, Ineos is going to have to fork it over. They're going to have to figure out. They're going to have to figure out how to divide up this money so we could get the depth. One of the other guys that they reported on is United have also explored the parameters for a deal for in-demand Bournemouth midfielder Alex Scott, who could be available for £60 million this summer. I love how the prices are just going up, by the way. Alex Scott was not 60 million at one point, although now he is £60 million. So, okay. It's starting to get a little bit more expensive as we're going along. Again, reporting that Alex Scott could be available for £60 million this summer. Bournemouth insist he is not for sale, however, and are attempting to renew his contract. Any new deal could include a release clause of around £75 million, Well, I like Alex Scott. I think he's got a lot of quality. 60 million. I mean, it's sort of the new average for players in today's time, anyway. Um, you know, it's it's sort of the new average. Anybody that has any sort of decency about them, anything about them really, um, they're not going for less than 60 million, are they? So I mean, I know like traditionally us, we look at these figures and we're like, this is sort of crazy money. But I mean, it is inflation. Like 60 million is like the new 30, you know, and 80 is the new 40, and 100 is like the new, you know, 50 or 60. So I don't know. It's going to be a little bit while before this actually gets sorted out. All right, it's going to be a little while before it actually gets sorted out um, for Manchester United. It's been a bit slow. Other considerations in the midfield include Baleba, Tonali, and Wharton. This is also coming from the Athletic. So I mean, Tonali is still kind of in there, but I don't know. I feel a little bit less. Um, I feel a little bit less confident in Tonali because there's other teams out there that seem to be pushing a lot harder and seem to be a lot more serious than us in it. So, I mean, I really like Tonali. I think we should go for him. I think we should be going for him. I think we should be trying to get him. Um, I would kind of be doing everything to get him. But yeah, I don't know. um, Sports View said 8 hours ago that United are in advanced talks for Mateus Fernandes. United are currently the favorites due to their relationship with George Mendes, but that's what I was saying before. So, I mean, the only thing is George Mendes. Listen, he's Portuguese. He likes his money, so you know that's why he did have a good relationship with us because we used to make him good amount of money. Um, you know, because under Sir Alex, we were obviously what we were. So they used to have, um, you know, they used to have stuff included in the contract that if we won the Premier League or whatever it was, they get bonuses. So he used to make a lot of money from us. But he used to also give us very good top talented players. So the sun's gone down a little bit. What else do we have? What else do we have?